It's here.
It's October 10th, 2020, which means it is day 10 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year 9. I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today, Remake Week concludes with the 2003 version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I specifically chose this movie to end this week out on, which I will get into a little bit after I tell you to click subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified for any future videos I'll be creating right here on this YouTube channel. Hit the like and share button because that helps me a lot in getting my videos and channel out there to a much broader audience, and as well as leave a comment down below because I want to know what you have to say about today's remake, or what you think is different, or what this movie did terribly, or whatever. And it's because I just love the horror community. I've been following a lot of people this month. I've been watching them, or just like there are pictures on Instagram and stuff like that. It's like because over on the 13th Wolfman's YouTube channel, he's been watching a lot of Italian horror films here lately, and he suggested that I watch one, and it was great, and I kind of really want to watch more Italian horror because of it. So like we are all suggesting different movies to watch because there's a lot of horror films out there, and we all can't watch all of them. So it's great to suggest movies to everybody, and do this exact same thing. Go over to his channel, subscribe, all that fun stuff, because his channel deserves it. He's one of the few YouTubers that I collaborate with, so thank you. I would deeply appreciate it. So now on today's video is, like I said, the 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The reason why I chose this is that very, very few horror remakes really have a legacy to protect. Okay, what really comes to mind is when they remade The Thing, or the prequel to The Thing. It was like they better be using practical, and like we want to see something like the extended story to what happened at the other outpost when they found the alien, and that. And when the Evil Dead remake kind of got announced, and we all moaned and groaned, but that ended up being really well because the legacy behind that one, because it's so big, I think it outgrows the horror genre in general because of Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. And then you get the ones that don't really grow outside the horror genre, like Dawn of the Dead, which is really specifically to the horror genre because of zombies and George A. Romero. And I know he's big, but I think he's really located to the horror genre itself. And when that one got announced that they were being remade, it was like we're gonna burn the world down if this movie's terrible. You know, like they better take some serious care with it. And they ended up being a really decent remake, and I think this movie is along the lines of that as well, because when they announced this was being remade, there was a lot of moans and groans, and like I think this is probably the biggest one out of all of them, that when it was being announced it was going to be remade, it was like, should there be a remake of this movie? The original is so good on its own, it doesn't need to be updated. And I totally agree with that, but I think we kind of need a Texas Chainsaw Massacre for this new generation of horror fans, because the filmmaking has very differed, and special effects have gotten so much better. Like that's with the Evil Dead remake. It still used practical effects and everything like that, but there was also some CGI enhancements here and there. So like even just a little bit that. What made the new Evil Dead remake really, really well, it was still super creepy. It still kept that fun of the original trilogy, and this one did as well. In the original, I try not to compare it to the original as much as possible. That was one of my main things I was trying to do this week, is not compare it to the original or the movie that came before, is that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could tell how hot it was. Because everybody was sweating, and you could just feel that it was hot, and it just felt sticky, you know, you just like, oh man, okay. And then in this one, you felt how dirty it was in terms of like grimy and just like they went to this one shop with to call the police, and they had a dead pig's head inside this glass case, and it's been there for far too long. And then when they checked out the outhouse, and it's been a long time before anyone has cared for this outhouse, and it's in shambles and just disarray, and what worst things that you can imagine has gone on in this poor outhouse. So that's what this one did really well, is like made everything really dirty and grimy, and and what was really nice is when you see the house where all this takes place at, it's done. It's really nice. It's such a standout from the previous locales. It's like once you start getting into um, the basement and the other things, the mill and stuff like that. It's all these places are really dirty, but if you look at this house, it's like it's really been upkept, and it's helped kind of elude people who may come by. It's like, if this house is dirty, we're just gonna leave. So like, you know, so, but I think the acting is done really well. It has Jessica Biel, Eric Bellafor, Ari Ermi. Who else is in this movie? I can't. Laura German, you know, recognize Maggie from Walking Dead. I didn't even realize that she was in this movie. So I'm like, she looks really familiar. I had to look it up, and because it just didn't recognize her. It didn't look like her. So, and just, I think this movie's done really well. I really enjoyed it, and that's why I specifically chose this one, is to say that remakes can be done well and have a place in today. Like, there are some remakes that are really classic horror films that are really should not be remade. I think we all could have lived without a Dawn of the Dead remake, but since we do have a remake of Dawn of the Dead, it's done in a way like, oh, it stands out on its own. I mean, there's nods and characters who or actors who show up and play different characters. Oh, like he's from the original and she's from the original, and it's like, oh, there's the helicopter from the original. You know, like it's really cool, and it's a great soundtrack, and enough about that one. But this one is just done really well. Like, it kicks off with Leonard Skinner in the very beginning, and it sets this tone. Like, all these friends know each other, and then they just end up getting picked off one by one in various ways. So, that's really all I gotta say. Remake week concludes with this really good remake. At least in my opinion. Is it better than the original? Absolutely not. But if you just wanted something a little bit more modern to watch, I think this is a good choice. So, alright, now, tomorrow starts sequel week, where I will be watching nothing but sequels. But the only caveat is that I keep forgetting to mention that I have to at least seen the first installment. So if I've at least, let's say I've seen the first installment of Saw, I can watch any of the other ones. I can watch them out of any order, any way I want, and that's going to be a lot of fun, because sometimes sequels don't have anything to do with the first one, but they're just in name only. So, but that's just my one caveat for the sequel week, is at least seen the first one. So I cannot wait to start that. I have a very, very fun one to start out with for tomorrow. So hopefully you stick around. And I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short. And thank you. And remember, click subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified, hit the like, and share this video, and leave a comment down below. I want to know what you have to think, because I said a lot of stuff about this film. So, and as well as, again, thank you.